I really love the phrase, I wasn't born yesterday. Why do I like that phrase so much? Because it strongly emphasizes that babies are stupid. Can you tell I'm not a dad? Can you? Huh? Can you? Well. Welcome to T11. It's great to have you here. Our little show is growing. Thank you so much for all the response, the comments, the subscriptions, the this, the that. We're just starting. I'm hoping to have a guest later this week, my first guest. Um, I'm excited. This is really a lot of fun. But on today's show, we're going to talk about friends or lack thereof sometimes, selecting friends. We're going to talk about. I got a question that might upset some people that I work with, depending on how I answer it at the moment. We'll see how that goes. But it's good to have you here. I hope you had a great weekend. Hello, Wombats. People have said, hey, what's this Wombat thing all about? Which to me says you're new. I'll just take a real quick, brief explanation. All these other shows have armies and viruses and the so and so nation and all that kind of stuff, you know? I didn't have anything to call you guys who listen to the show. And I was just joking. I said, and I pulled this animal out of my ass. This is the reason why I have didgeridoo music now, by the way. I pulled this animal out of my ass, a wombat, not knowing what a wombat even really is. I mean, I spent some time in Australia, but I didn't hang out with wombats. I mean, I went to the Queensland Zoo and held a koala. Koala. I did that, but I didn't hold no wombat. But I didn't know anything about wombats, and I thought it was funny. I just threw it out there for the hell of it. And then I decided, I'm going to go to the dictionary. I'm going to go and look and see what wombats are all about. I Wikipedia'd my wombatdom. Turns out that wombats, a group of wombats, is called a wisdom. And I went, holy hell, we're just going to have to keep that. We're just going to have to go with it. And now we got shirts, we got all kinds of stuff, and people are loving them. So thank you for picking that up. I love it. I think it's fun, and I love the fact that it just happened by accident, organically, and that's pretty cool with me. So I hope you had a good weekend. I On the last show, I talked about my fair weather fandom for 2024. I'm not going to spend money, time, or anything else on sports. Now, I did watch some football this weekend. Don't get mad at me. It's like 20 degrees outside. I wasn't going anywhere. Okay? I wasn't doing anything like that. I did not watch the second game though because it was on that Peacock network and you had to sign up for it. You had to pay $5 a month. And you know what? I was going to say, I'm not paying any more money to the NFL. I'm not buying the packages. I'm not doing the baseball packages. I barely watch NBA anymore, which is my biggest love was basketball. So I just kind of stayed away from it. But I think I got most of the games right, which is pretty cool. So there you go. I also was thinking, you know, in your 20s and 30s, at least in my 20s and 30s, I'll put it this way. In my 20s or 30s, I had some really cool friends. Some of them I don't even talk to anymore. Some of them I do. But all of them had one thing in common. We would have these very supportive, transformational conversations. My talks weren't like, did you bang Betty? Did you know, look at me get shit faced. Those weren't that wasn't my life. I had these really cool conversations that really changed my life. They really did. And thank you to my friends for changing my life and having these conversations with me. These conversations in my 20s and early 30s were the norm. That's all we ever did. I had friends that would say, hey, my dream is this. We weren't afraid to admit we had dreams. We weren't afraid to admit when we were weak in certain areas. And we lifted each other up. We did that all the time. Somebody said they had a dream, we'd laugh at them and go, you know what? You could dream bigger than that. I mean, that is legit. We honestly did that. And I miss a lot of that. We had our whole lives in front of us. Anything was possible. Anything was possible. I miss those conversations. I really do miss those conversations. You get into your early 50s and 60s and 70s, I'm sure, and 80s, I'm sure, you're still alive and you still have things you want to do and you're looking back at your life. You're on the clock. You're on the clock when you get to a certain age. You're afraid to dream big. You're afraid to go for it. You're even afraid to admit to your friends that you have these dreams because everybody becomes a little more skeptical. I have become skeptical. And I don't like that about me. I don't want to be skeptical anymore. I've never been one of those skeptical guys, but and I'm going to get into this here in a second, and about 10, 15 years ago, it hit me hard. It hit me hard, and I've been trying to get out of skepticism. I like living in a fake world of miracles and belief and just going for stuff with no real plan just because you love it, just because you want to do it. And I stopped doing that because I was getting laughed at, because I got married and we had a mortgage. And I'm not blaming my wife for this, okay? But it is part of the recipe for losing some of that fire, is because you've got responsibilities. We don't have children, like I mentioned, but we're responsible for each other. And both of us take that very seriously. And I think that's why we've been together for going on 31 years. But I have a feeling that if I don't have these kinds of conversations anymore, I'm going to die. And that's what this show is. I don't want it to sound so drastic, but it's true. I feel like there's no reason to live if I'm just going through the days, day by day, just seeing what happens. Maybe you get a vacation, you got something to look forward to. I look forward to life. I look forward to making I had this insane ability to manifest things just because I didn't know that you couldn't do it. Now you get older, oh, you can't do that. That takes money. That takes this. That takes that. That's heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking. Are, are your friends talkers or are they doers? This is a good idea. Why don't I think maybe upcoming shows, I'm gonna see what some of my friends, those ones that I just talked about, the ones that I've kind of lost touch with, but man, we were there to support each other, and some of them I have not lost touch with, and I just talked to one today. We had a great conversation, similar to what I was talking about, but I don't have enough of it in my life. And I want to reunite. Maybe I'll reunite with some of these friends on camera, on this, on that, and we can talk about and see where their life went. That's it. I'm going to find a couple and I'm going to do that. All right. I'm going to do that. But I want to get back to my Quan. I want to get back to the way I was feeling when in the 20s and 30s. And I had a talk with a guy named Glenn Phillips about this in a previous podcast way a long time ago when I did Terry James Alive. And Glenn Phillips is the singer of Toad the Wet Sprocket, and that's a band that grew up like me in a very formative years in Santa Barbara, California. And they're still doing their thing, but maybe not to the level to just keep it going. And we were talking to each other like, how do you keep it going? How do you get that vision back? How do you get that recklessness, like anything is possible, back? And I'm not really so sure you could have that exact feeling, but it's in your heart. If it's in your heart and it's in your head, then why not try? Why not try? I had some great success. And like I said earlier, about 10 years, 12 years ago, I lost it. I remember the exact day that I lost all of my feeling for success, all of my drive, all of this, all of that. It was during that 2008. So what is that? I don't know. What is it now? It was 2011, I think it was. I was laying on the couch in Dallas, in my house in Dallas. And I was just laying there. It's just before we moved here. I was just laying there on the couch and I had let myself go. I got up to, I think, the most I have ever weighed, like 230 pounds. You know, for a guy who's 6'3", almost 6'4", that doesn't sound like a lot, but it is. I was puffy. I was so sad. It caused problems between Sherry and I. Sherry was still being supportive. I could give a fuck. I was so unhappy because I had lost it, and I've had moments since then where I feel like I've got some things. I've had some things happen in my life that are very exciting, but that's very few and far between. I've wasted well over a decade right now, and it's time to get back into the workshop. It's time to get back going again, and it's time to, I don't know, make people scratch their heads again about me. Make some decisions and do some things and take some actions where they go, what the hell is that guy thinking? Doesn't he realize how old he is? Doesn't he know he has a mortgage? I don't want to just throw, I mean, if Sherry listens to this, which thank God she doesn't, she would go, oh, no, you're not. I need 5 more years out of you. I need 10 more years out of you. We need to retire. I just want to do something bold again. And I don't know what age you are right now, but whatever age you are, and especially if you're young, especially if you're in that 20 range and even younger, be bold, man. Take some chances. Give it a shot. Just let it go, you know? Anyway, I got this email from somebody I wanted to read today, or today's show's a little shorter because I'm still getting used to this equipment. I do the show, and look at this. Each podcast is anywhere from 15 to 25 minutes or something like that, and I plan on them being much longer. But if I do a 15-minute podcast, it literally takes me probably 4 hours from now, I'll be able to post this. I don't know what I'm doing. I got to figure this out. So if you're watching on YouTube, by the way, please like and subscribe. Thank you so much for that. Leave comments there. Leave comments on the YouTube page. If there's something you want to talk about or a comment you want to make about, it's not too late because I'm going to be doing this show quite often. So we'll keep this conversation going. So if there's something you have a comment about or a thought on, leave it in the comments of the YouTube page or leave it on a comment on terryjames.com. You fill out the form and just leave a comment for me. I would love to hear from you. But I got an email from somebody here. It says, on Lex and Terry, it seems like you, where did I just lost it. On Lex and Terry, I'm reading on my iPad. Okay. On Lex and Terry, it seems like you get grief, is what it says, but it's not spelled right. It seems like you get grief on being too driven, and that makes the rest of the staff maybe uncomfortable. What are your thoughts on that? Well, that's a Lex and Terry thing, so we should probably be answering that on Lex and Terry, but I'll answer it now. And excuse me. Yeah, professionally, I've always had very high standards. I've had high standards for everything, but over the years, have let myself down and realized maybe those high standards are a little too much to ask of anybody else. I don't mind asking them of myself if I can pull them off. But the problem when I have high standards and I don't reach something, I get very sad. I get very depressed. I get bummed out. I feel like a loser. I feel like I screwed everything up. But professionally, I really do have high standards, and I work with some very talented people who all have their own way of doing things. But at some point, the Lex and Terry show went from being a radio show that we were all employed by a radio company to where Lex and I had to become our own bosses. And that's been pretty tough because how can you go from telling somebody, hey, step it up when you haven't really had to say it because you had other bosses doing it before, Um, but I think I have to get back to that. I think I have to get back to showing. I've always thought that if I led with high standards, if I led with the hey, when the microphones are on, that's the most important time of the day. That's what it's all about. Without a show, then there's none of this other stuff we have going on in our lives. I've been very lucky and very easily I could push things to the side on the show. It doesn't make me better than anyone else. I could push a bad day to the side or maybe even feeling sick sometimes. I could do that. But it's I don't know. You tell me. There's something you can comment on. Am I being too much of a dick by trying to have people live up to the standards that I've set forward to the show or set forward to myself professionally? Is that a fair thing to do? I don't know. I either have to let go of it or not. I kind of think at this stage of my career, I got to set those standards high again because I do not want to look back at myself and say, God, if only I would have put in some more work. If only I would have told somebody so and so. If only I would have, you get it. I don't need any more explanations of the with onlys, if onlys. So yeah, I'm gonna work on that. All right, so work in progress. All right, so I'm hoping to have a show. Well, I will be doing a show on Thursday, so join me Thursday for this. I'm hoping it will either be live, one of these things. It'll either be live on YouTube. I don't know if Facebook will carry it live or not, but it will be live on YouTube. There's a link you have to click on to see it. But and I think you could even leave questions for me there. So that's going to be happening on Thursday. I'll let you know the exact time that I plan on doing it. It'll be sometime around 12:30, 1 in the afternoon. It'll be around that time. So let's get it going, guys. I really appreciate you guys being here. Thank you, thank you, thank you so much. And I'm hoping to have a guest. I'm hoping to have a guest this coming week. And I hope you guys are having a good day. It's Monday, man. Let's get this shit going.